I consider the original Destiny to be a pretty large disappointment. Gunplay was rock solid, and it had some stellar presentation, but everything surrounding it just felt shallow. Its design was repetitive, its missions dull, and it severely lacked in content. 3 years later, Destiny 2 has arrived and makes great strides to address many of the criticisms of its predecessor, and as a result is a vastly improved experience that I had a lot of fun with, but still misses the mark in one key area. Bungie provides an actual story this time around. Gorgeous cutscenes are present throughout, there's banter and other such dialogue being delivered constantly, and characters are actually given something to do. While the narrative itself is pretty standard, and I can't say I found myself very invested in anything going on, what's presented is well done and gives some much needed life to this universe that was once lacking. It's the act of playing Destiny 2 that has seen the most changes and improvements. Missions now have a lot more variety and engaging design, offering great pacing and exciting set pieces. Loot is dropped at a good, constant rate, so you always feel like your character is improving, although I did keep seeing the same handful of items, specifically armor pieces, over and over. Planet exploration is now more rewarding, with newly added adventures, which are short missions lasting around 10 to 15 minutes, that provide additional snippets of story and have you exploring areas of the map you might have otherwise missed. And public events that encourage roaming guardians to tackle a brief objective together happen frequently and provide a sense of camaraderie with your fellow players. There are also several small quality of life improvements made to the game. The majority of engrams you find don't need to be decoded anymore, letting you use new gear as soon as you obtain it. You no longer have to return to orbit to select a new planet or mission, which cuts down significantly on wait time, and each planet now has multiple spawn locations, so you're only ever a short distance from what you want to do. And the abundance of different currencies, faction reputations, and other such clutter have been removed or streamlined so they're much easier to grasp, all of which are smart changes. But not every alteration has been for the better, with one significant negative being the system for gear mods and shaders, each of which are single-use consumables. Once they're attached to a piece of gear, they cannot be removed, and if you want more of the same item, you'll need to get lucky from drops. Or you can spend real money on bright engrams, which are Destiny 2's version of loot boxes. This system was put in place to incentivize microtransactions, and is a greed-motivated blemish on an otherwise good game. But the biggest issue I have with Destiny 2 carries over from its predecessor, that being a notable lack of endgame content. Once you're finished with the story and reach max level, there just isn't a whole lot to do for a game that expects such long-term investment, outside of grinding daily and weekly challenges that tend to amount to busy work. There are the Cooperative Strikes, which are fun, challenging, and offer their own surprises, but there are only a handful of them available, so you'll quickly see all they have to offer. There's the Crucible, the competitive PvP mode, which I've personally never cared for. It's fine for what it is, but fighting toe-to-toe against other players isn't the primary draw of Destiny, and there are plenty of other better multiplayer games available. There are also some bizarre restrictions on the available content. You can't choose a specific Strike or Crucible game type since they're each relegated to randomized playlists, and you're completely unable to replay story missions like you could in the first game, outside a few randomly selected each week. Since it already feels like there isn't enough to do, restricting what content there is feels like a strange decision. You quickly fall into the same loop as the first game, where you replay a handful of things you've already seen multiple times to get better loot, which you use to play the same stuff again. Note that this review doesn't include the upcoming raid as it hasn't been released yet, but regardless of its quality, it still amounts to just one more piece of content players are expected to play repeatedly, so I don't feel its inclusion will alter my criticism.
I've been constantly flip-flopping on what I want the final score for Destiny 2 to be. It's better than the first game in just about every way. In fact, it's the game that we all wanted the original Destiny to be. It's consistently fun, engaging, and even surprising at times. And I had a great experience playing through all that it had to offer. The issue is that before too long, I had seen everything that it had to offer. Now, if this were the first entry in a brand new franchise, or if it wasn't marketed as the shooter MMO that you're meant to play weeks, months, years down the line, then I'd probably be more forgiving of it, but as a sequel, it's still a sizable issue that bugs me. So I'll put it like this. If you liked the first Destiny and don't mind that repetitive grind of the endgame, then go out and buy Destiny 2 right now, you'll absolutely love it. But if you found the first game lacking and don't want to replay the same content over and over and over, I still think you should check out Destiny 2 at some point, because the content that is here is worth experiencing. So in summary, Destiny 2 gets a strong, enthusiastic, highest possible 7 out of 10.